So, Danny Boyle, Richard Curtis, congratulations on yesterday. This was just an absolute delight.
Oh, thank you so much.
I have to say, for a lot of movie fans, including myself, seeing you guys work together, it was really like a match made in heaven for filmmaking. So I was wondering, were you two as excited to work together, and how did your working process work out?
Oh, I just
think
so. It worked out really well. I mean, at each point, it was interesting. Danny came in and auditioned for the movie. I mean, it was kind of interesting audition, because what he was saying was, if you don't change these 20 pages,
no.
I'm out. But he was outlining his vision of it. And then for me, it was a particular delight, because I really do write sort of with stick people in my mind. And therefore, every huge twirl that Danny did, and just the way he always does interesting things with the camera, was just, for me, just extra layers of the cake every day.
But for me, to be able to do a film about love, and obviously this double-barreled, because in one sense it's obviously a huge love letter to the Beatles and their music, and then on the other hand, this love letter from her to him, really, in a way, because she's telling him to wake up and love him, really, that she's waited half her life for him. Yeah. And to be able to do that combo in such a joyous way together is very special, really, because it brings out something better in you, I think.
And as well as it being about love, I think it's like almost you could consider it your first musical, you know, Danny, even though like music has featured so highly in your work before, between like Slumdog Millionaire and even like Trainspotting, like that soundtrack is key to that film. So was that kind of part of the draw for it for you?
I think for both of us, the thing that's common for both of us is our love of music. I think you'd be hard pressed to find two other filmmakers who spent so much of their work dedicated to songs and, you know, and the joy that you get in putting them into films, really. So, and I've always wanted to do a musical, and I still haven't quite done it, because you've got to do dancing then as well, and ideally the songs have got to be original, they've got to be brand new. That's the ultimate one.
The definition is getting a bit tricky now, you know, with
I think
musicals.
it's got to be dancing and totally original songs to really qualify in the way.
By the way, it is fun watching the movie at the extent to which I can relax when the songs start. Because, you know, as someone who tries to write jokes, you're just slightly on the edge of your seat.
Will it work? Will it work with this?
You're going to get a laugh, and then suddenly he goes yesterday, and you think, okay, I've got 3 minutes.
No, in his
now when I can leave it to Danny and the Beatles. Yeah.
Speaking of laughter, romantic comedies for you, Richard, is an area you've kind of been drawn to again and again. Notting Hill, by the way, recently turned 20 years old. I don't know if you know, so one of your earlier ones.
Yeah.
But between that and still with Yesterday, you had those, you know, romantic comedy elements in it. So I was wondering what it is about that genre that you're kind of constantly, you know, drawn back to. And how do you always make them work? Because there are a lot of romantic comedies that don't work.
You know, I wonder that. And the way I justify it is, why did Picasso always draw people with eyes all over their faces? You know, there must be a thing inside you which just tells you that that's the thing that you care about most. And I was always obsessed by love. I fell in love with someone called Jill when I was 4. And, you know, I fell in love with a kitten called the Lemon Cardboard. Yes, it's just the thing that hangs around in my heart more than anything else. Some people are interested in action, some people are interested in social change, some people are interested in history, and for me, fictionally, it is the thing that I always want to tell another tale about.
Great. My very last question for you guys is, because this is so oriented around the Beatles, I have to ask, do you remember the first time you heard the Beatles, or do you have a fond memory you associate with a Beatles song?
So I'm a twin. I have a twin sister and we have a younger sister, and we used to play upstairs in our bedroom. And while my parents, who I'd always imagined as being old, as you do with parents, played the original 7-inch singles downstairs. And we used to hear them sort of through the floorboards, and we'd pretend to be the Beatles, we'd perform. And my sister was in love with Paul McCartney, as all girls were, and therefore I was John Lennon. Yeah. And the other sister, my poor younger sister, could be Paul, could be George or Ringo, it didn't really matter. And so she could be either those or both those to play the game. So that's my first memory of them.
My most painful memory is I went to a boarding school, and I heard that Radio 1 were going to play the whole of the White Album on one Tuesday.
Wow.
So I got up at 5, sat on a radiator, So by the time I went to the matron, my temperature was about 104, and I was put in the hospital that day, in the SAN, as they called it, and I listened to Piggies and, you know, Happiness is a Warm Gun and Julia and all of those things. I was the only person in the school to hear them.
Well, that seems like a lovely note to leave it on, so we'll have to leave it there. But congratulations again on the movie, guys. I enjoyed it immensely.
Thank you for coming over and watching.
Thank you for coming over early morning.
Yeah. Very good.
John, Paul, George and Ringo, the Beatles. No. Stop it. Yesterday. It's one of the greatest songs ever written.
Well, it's not Coldplay. It's not Fix You.
Do you genuinely not know who the Beatles are?
Genuinely.
Then I'm in a really, really, really complicated situation.